When you lie, your energy shifts. Your frequency changes. And most people don't notice. They hear your words. They see your face, and they believe you. But some people, they don't just listen to words. They read energy. They feel vibrations. They sense when something is off, when something doesn't align. And Ibn Arabi said, these people aren't psychic. They're not mind readers. They're just more attuned, more sensitive, more aware. And when your words don't match your energy, when your lie creates a dissonance, they feel it immediately. And they know, not because they're smart, but because they're sensitive. And sensitivity sees what intelligence misses. This is not about catching someone in a logical inconsistency. This is not about noticing a detail that doesn't add up. This is about feeling, about sensing, about picking up on something invisible but unmistakable. You're telling a story, and the story sounds fine. The words make sense. The timeline is logical, but something feels wrong. And the person listening to you, they can't explain what's wrong. They just know something is off. Something doesn't sit right. And that feeling, that subtle discomfort, that's their energy detection system alerting them. You're lying. And they know it. Even if they can't prove it. Ibn Arabi taught that everything is energy. Words are energy. Thoughts are energy. Emotions are energy. And when you speak truth, all three align. Your words match your thoughts. Your thoughts match your emotions. And that alignment creates a clean, clear, resonant energy. But when you lie, when you speak something that isn't true, the alignment breaks. Your words say one thing. Your thoughts know another. Your emotions feel the dissonance. And that misalignment creates a disturbance in your energy field, a disruption, a static. And sensitive people, people who are attuned to energy, they pick up on that static. Immediately. Now most people aren't sensitive enough to feel this. They hear the words. They process the logic. And if the words make sense, they accept it as truth. But sensitive people operate differently. They're not just listening to what you say. They're feeling what you emit. And when what you emit doesn't match what you say, they know. And this isn't a conscious process. They're not thinking, let me check if this person's energy aligns with their words. It's automatic, instant, unconscious. They just feel it. A tightness in their chest, a heaviness in the air, a sense of wrongness they can't articulate. And that feeling is their body's way of saying, this person is lying. So who are these people? Who has this ability? Ibn Arabi identified certain characteristics. First, they're usually highly empathic. They feel other people's emotions. Not just observe them, but feel them, as if those emotions were their own. And because they're so attuned to emotional energy, they can sense when someone's emotional state doesn't match their words. You're saying you're fine, but your energy is screaming anxiety. You're saying you're happy, but your energy is heavy with sadness. And they feel that gap, that disconnect. And they know you're not telling the truth. Second, these people are often introverted or spend a lot of time alone. And solitude sharpens sensitivity. When you're constantly around people, constantly in noise and stimulation, your sensitivity dulls. You have to survive, to function. But when you spend time in silence, in stillness, in your own energy field, you become more aware of energy in general. You notice subtle shifts, subtle changes, subtle disturbances. And when you return to social settings, you bring that heightened awareness with you. And you pick up on things others miss, including lies. Third, they've usually been lied to before, badly, painfully. And the experience taught them to pay attention, to not just accept words at face value, to look deeper, to feel deeper. And over time, that vigilance becomes intuition. They don't consciously analyze every word. They just feel when something is off. And they're right. Almost always. Because their intuition was trained through pain, through betrayal, through learning the hard way that words can deceive but energy doesn't. Ibn Arabi also taught that lying creates physical symptoms in the liar. Subtle symptoms, micro-expressions, changes in breathing, shifts in posture. And sensitive people notice these too. Not always consciously, but their subconscious picks it up, processes it, and sends a signal. Something is wrong. You're lying, and they see you swallow nervously, or blink rapidly, or touch your face, or shift your weight. And individually, these signs mean nothing, but collectively, they create a pattern. And sensitive people, even if they're not consciously tracking these patterns, feel the result. The dissonance, the wrongness. The lie. Now, here's what makes this difficult for liars. You can train yourself to control your words. You can rehearse. You can prepare. You can deliver a lie smoothly, confidently, convincingly. But you can't control your energy. Not fully. Because energy is tied to truth. When you believe what you're saying, your energy is aligned. Strong, clear. But when you don't believe it, when you know it's false, your energy betrays you. It wavers. It dims. It creates static. And no amount of rehearsal can hide that. Because energy doesn't lie. Ever. And this is why pathological liars often avoid sensitive people. Not consciously, but instinctively. They feel uncomfortable around them, exposed, seen, because sensitive people don't need proof, don't need evidence, don't need to catch you in a contradiction. They just know. And that knowing, that immediate recognition, it's threatening. It's destabilizing. Because it means you can't hide, can't perform, can't manipulate. And for people who rely on lying, who use it as a strategy, sensitive people are dangerous. Because they can't be fooled. Ibn Arabi also made a distinction. He said, there are lies of deception and lies of protection. Lies of deception are told to manipulate, to gain something, to hide something harmful. And these lies carry heavy, dark, dissonant energy. And sensitive people feel that darkness immediately. But lies of protection are different. You're lying to protect someone, to spare feelings, to avoid unnecessary harm. And these lies, while still lies, carry a different energy, a softer energy, an energy of care rather than manipulation. And sensitive people can tell the difference. They might still feel that you're not telling the full truth, but they also feel your intention. And if your intention is kind, they're more likely to let it slide, to not press, to respect the protection you're offering. But lies of deception, those trigger them, activate their alarm system, make them pull back, distance themselves, because they don't just feel the lie. They feel the intention behind it, the selfishness, the manipulation, the harm. And sensitive people, because they feel so deeply, protect themselves fiercely. And if they sense you're lying to manipulate, to deceive, to take advantage, they'll remove themselves from your life, quickly, quietly, without explanation, because they don't owe you a confrontation. They just owe themselves protection. Now some people ask, can you develop this ability? Can you learn to sense when someone is lying? And Ibn Arabi's answer, yes. But it requires practice. And it requires trust. Trust in your own feelings. Trust in your intuition. Trust in that subtle sense of wrongness that you usually dismiss or ignore. Most people feel when something is off, but they don't trust it. They override it with logic, with rationalization, with the desire to believe the person, and they talk themselves out of what they're feeling. But developing the ability to sense lies means doing the opposite, means trusting the feeling, even when you can't explain it, even when the person seems convincing, even when the words make sense. The practice is simple. Pay attention to how you feel around people, not what they say, but how you feel. Does their presence feel light or heavy? Does their energy feel open or closed? Does their story feel true or forced? And notice the subtle sensations in your body, the tightness in your chest, the knot in your stomach, the tension in your shoulders. These are your body's ways of telling you something is wrong. And the more you pay attention, the more you trust these signals, the more accurate they become, until you reach a point where you just know, without thinking, without analyzing. You just know. And you're right. Ibn Arabi also warned about false positives. Sometimes you feel like someone is lying when they're not. And this happens when you're projecting, when your own fear, your own suspicion, your own past trauma creates a sense of wrongness that isn't actually there. So the key is to distinguish between your projection and their energy. And the way to do that is to check your body. If the feeling is coming from your head, from your thoughts, from your fears, it's projection. But if the feeling is coming from your gut, from your chest, from your energy field, it's intuition. And intuition is almost always right. And here's the final piece. If you're someone who can sense lies, use it wisely. Don't weaponize it. Don't use it to humiliate people. Don't confront every lie you detect. Because sometimes people lie for reasons that aren't your business. Sometimes they lie because they're scared, or ashamed, or protecting something fragile. And if the lie isn't harming you, if it's not manipulating you, let it go. Just note it, file it away, and adjust your trust accordingly. You don't need to call them out. You just need to know. And knowing is enough. But if the lie is harmful, if it's manipulative, if it's designed to deceive or take advantage, then you protect yourself. You distance. You remove yourself from the situation. Because sensitive people are often targets for manipulators, for liars, for people who think they can fool everyone. And your sensitivity, your ability to detect lies, it's your protection, your defense, your way of knowing who to trust and who to avoid. And that ability, that gift, it's not about being better than others. It's about being safe, about protecting your energy, about surrounding yourself with truth. Because truth, even uncomfortable truth, is lighter than lies. And sensitive people, more than anyone, need to live in that lightness, in that clarity, in that alignment, where words and energy match, where truth is spoken, where lies can't survive.